I am just 2 months into this MBA, so I would believe that I've not changed as a person, but all that has changed is the tag that I have. Be clear of your priorities and know what you want, but they will not shortlist you for the interview until round 5, and that is a 6-month wait. You don't have an option B, and you don't want to be in that situation.
It's not about why I need the scholarship, it is about why I deserve the scholarship.
100%. They try to make you uncomfortable and they try to ask questions that you're not prepared for.
That's another very interesting perspective that, I want to be part of that niche, network.
Yeah. My interview was, yes, so you do get shortlisted for the interview, but you get to know only after round 5.
That you are shortlisted for the interview.
Yes. So it's a long wait and a lot of uncertainty to deal with. So right now I'm getting calls from all of the people who are currently applying to the Oxford MBA. They're reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and they're just so uncertain because they've gotten their admission letter, but they don't know the outcome of the scholarship.
Right.
So what happens with most scholarships is that after every round, they will tell you that they're taking you forward for the next round, but they will not shortlist you for the interview until round 5, and that is a 6-month wait. It's a lot. It's not easy. Yeah. Kind of like the current batch is working with the business school to see if something can happen, if they can divide into batches. But so it's important for you to also think that will you do this MBA without the scholarship? Is it is it a game changer for you, or is it something that you want to do and you would do with a loan as well? So evaluate all of that, because I know a lot of people, because sometimes you tend to get overconfident because you're getting shortlisted in every round. So you're like, yeah, I will crack the interview. It's not going to be a big deal. But then after round 6, you get to know you're not getting the scholarship. You waited 6 months. You don't have an option B, and you don't want to be in that situation. So be clear of your priorities and know what you want, especially if you are one of the people who don't want to do it without the scholarship. Be prepared for that uncertainty and cast your net wide again. Look at different forms of scholarships as well. There are a lot of external scholarships as well, by the way. So all of the scholarships that I mentioned are part of Saïd Business School funding, but there are external scholarships like Chevening, Commonwealth, Tata does a scholarship, there's Zonta Women in Leadership Scholarship. So there are tons. Apply to as many as you can so you don't end up with nothing. I was shortlisted for the Laidlaw interview after round 6, and it goes by too quickly because the moment you get an interview shortlist, your interview happens in 2 days.
Okay.
So you don't have any time. So you need to start preparing from the get-go. You cannot wait for an interview shortlist to start preparing for your interview.
So what was your need that you mentioned in your application for Laidlaw?
So they don't ask for a financial need really. For them,
I mean,
it's again,
why do you deserve the scholarship? What was your story?
My story was that I care about women. I care about women's leadership. So again, you have to alter your story a little bit depending on what the foundation, what your funder holds its values for. The foundation again stands for women in leadership. So I actually did a lot of research. So Lord Laidlaw is the one who started the foundation. I watched his video on YouTube, which said that his experience was when he was working, he had women in his team, and it made a lot of difference to have women professionals, and that he really values women's leadership, and he sees the MBA as a great way to allow women to become leaders. So I knew that my story has to be around women's leadership, and that was it. I spoke about how I went back to my school life, that I was a head girl, and that in my undergrad I was I was supporting women through Enactus, and then I want to use the Oxford MBA as a way to know how can I support more women leaders. So I stuck with that one single idea throughout. My story was different for a different scholarship because, again, as an individual, you have many stories.
Right.
It's about what you want to write about, right? So,
and how do you connect with the funder and their ideology?
Exactly. So what you can't do is have one story and make it work for everything. Your why Oxford will be different from why a scholarship, and every scholarship will be different. So be prepared to do that research and do a lot of writing.
And I think one thing which is very there, right, it's not about why I need the scholarship, it is about why I deserve the scholarship.
100%.
And I think that's the right way of thinking about it, because need may not justify you getting the scholarship, right?
No.
Because if unless you deserve it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the whole mindset shift when we are talking about applying for scholarships that we learned from your story, Harshita. So you who took the interview, and what was the interview process like?
Yeah, it was the toughest interview of
Yeah.
my life. So unlike the Oxford, the MBA interview, where it's a one-on-one conversation, most scholarship interviews have a panel. So you're speaking to 4 or 5 people together, and you're getting attacked from everybody. It is like, I don't mean to say that it's hostile, but it's also that they try to make you uncomfortable and they try to ask questions that you're not prepared for. So one of the questions that I received in my scholarship was, what theories of leadership have you applied in your work? And I had no idea. I was like, what is that? What is the theory of leadership?
That theory I'm trying to learn in my...
So I had to think on my feet, and I said that, and I was again very authentic, and again remembering at the back of my mind that they care about women's leadership. So my response was on the lines of how most leadership theories are made by men, and there aren't enough theories.
Isn't she smart, guys?
So there aren't enough theories out there which work when you want to be an empathetic leader. And then there was some cross-questioning on that. And now, like a month back, I had a lunch with my interviewers. We were sitting in a very informal setting, and we discussed whether, that was the right way to go about it. And unlike, you would think that, you want to agree with the interviewer, but it's good to not agree. Yeah. It's good to disagree with respect and with like a genuine curiosity, showing them that you're still learning and that you're here to like expand your horizons. So that was one of the questions. There were questions on my own life journey. I also try to understand whether you would do this MBA without the scholarship. And I think that's a very sensitive question, and everybody deals with it in their own ways. So some of the advice that I received was to say that you wouldn't, but I didn't feel authentic about that. I felt like I want to tell them that I would do the MBA regardless, but having a scholarship will make it much more rich for me because I don't have to worry about my finances, and I can access, and I showed them that for me a scholarship goes beyond the financial aspect. It's about having a community. It's about having, because again, Laidlaw
the alumni, not just of Saïd Business School, but also of the scholarship,
exactly,
would be like some of the best people, leading leaders in like women in leadership.
Yeah.
So absolutely, yeah. That's another very interesting perspective that, I want to be part of that niche, network.
Yeah. So really talk about, aspects beyond finance as well. Yes, you can't be like, I'm very rich. You can't be like, yes, I got the money.
Yeah.
Because of course they want more and more people. They want to make this accessible. So you have to sort of be conscious of the fact that you need this financially also, but you have these 10 other reasons why you deserve and want this scholarship.
Right. A lot of genuine advice for all of you, and especially all the girls who might be looking for applying for Oxford. Do take this seriously, because if you are authentic, I think that's the one word I'm going to take away from this conversation. We've learned a lot about your application journey and kind of more operationally how you executed each step. I know we are short on time now, and you need to get back to your next session. But one big question which comes to everyone's head is, and I talk about it very openly, is university name doesn't really matter when you are out there in the job market. When you're applying for a company, you're from which university, doesn't matter. What will matter are your skills. You just disagree or agree or whatever you want with me, but I'm just throwing some pointers out. Secondly, if you are paying for a high-priced MBA, how do you justify the ROI on it? Because in the UK job market, for example, even if you had to work here, you don't get those high salaries, right? And if you are spending that high amount of money on your MBA, not in your case, but in general for others. And thirdly is UK still a place where people are welcome, like internationals are welcome? 3 thoughts, number 1 being, does university matter? 2, so high priced, how do you get the ROI? And number 3, are we even welcome here?
Okay, interesting questions. And again, I think everybody's perspectives would differ. But speaking for myself and some of my friends, I think I have gotten into so many more rooms because I'm an Oxford MBA. And I'm an Oxonian for life. So it's a formal matriculation that you get here, that you're now forever part of Oxford. And it is one of the oldest universities in the world. It carries a lot of weight. You cannot get that anywhere else. And I speak it with a lot of pride because being an entrepreneur, for me, yes, I got funded for the MBA, but not being able to work full time for a year is a cost, right? But I'm able to get the ROI on it because I am talking to some of the biggest funders and donors who would not want to talk to me if I weren't an Oxford MBA. I'm like, networking with, because right now there's a lot of like in the social impact sector conversation in the global south. I am meeting like-minded entrepreneurs from Africa and other parts of the world who I wouldn't have otherwise. I am getting to learn from not just the amazing faculty that we have here, but practitioners and my peers who all come from amazing
Absolutely.
backgrounds. So I would completely disagree that university doesn't matter, regardless of where you are. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're working, it carries a lot of weight and people look at you differently. I am just 2 months into this MBA, so I would believe that I've not changed as a person, but all that has changed is a tag that I have.
Right.
But that changes everything, right? So think of that when you're evaluating. Yes, a lot goes into the decision, and you need to think from a lot of different perspectives. Also, the culture is very different from what you would get in an ISB or an IIM, where you are handed a lot of things in terms of jobs.
Yeah, I'm from
and stuff.
Bangalore. It's
Yes.
still very academic.
Yes, it is one of the best B schools in India, right? But think of what you want. I think for me, it was very clear that what I wanted was a global exposure and really a network that I can bank on for the rest of my life. So for me, I would say that I am getting the ROI, and you will not possibly get it in a year because this is something that you carry with you for the rest of your life. I know an alum who helped me, who's also, a client for me at work. She is an SBS alum from 11 years ago. She literally showed me her WhatsApp chat and how active it is right now that you wouldn't believe it. And, these are people that she was in class with 11 years ago, but she's still getting the ROI on it. She's still able to leverage it, not just personally, but professionally. So it is a network for lifetime, and especially for collegiate universities like Oxford, because you're not part of just the business school, you're part of Oxford, you're part of the college that you are in, and it carries with you forever.
So I would say, guys, I think this is a very important learning for all of us, right? It's all about the timeline, right? If you're looking at the next 2 years, the post-study work permit, when we're thinking very short term. We're just thinking, how do I get my money back, right? And if you are going for schools like Oxford or Cambridge or LBS or Imperial, you're not thinking of your immediate outcome or what you can eat today, but it is a lifelong journey, and you get that ROI every day of your life, right? Anyone you meet, just the conversation becomes easier. I don't know if you would have responded to my message had I not been maybe from a BCG or an IIM Bangalore. Just probably there might not have been authenticity or credibility to me, right? So I think ROI will keep coming, right? So if you're really ambitious in life, you need to go for these schools, and because you're not looking at immediate outcomes. So when we're evaluating these top schools, let's not talk about in how many years do I break even on the tuition that I paid, because this is going to give you a return for the rest of your life.
Right.
Thank you so much, Harshita. And it was such an insightful conversation. I got to learn a lot about not just the Saïd Business School, but just you as a person. And so lovely to know, Indian women leaders of the future. And don't forget me, when you become really this big hot shot. And, we have your interview on our channel. And we'll probably look back on one day when you are, all over the world.
Sure.
So looking forward to that day. And if you guys enjoyed this conversation, do subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments, because I answer all my comments on my own. Lovely having you here, Harshita, and thank you all for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
So if you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you all in the next video.